Everyone, this is Imran Ashraf. Today I'll be giving a short lecture on genetics, a fascinating topic, a fascinating science that explains how traits or how characters are transferred from one generation to another generation. Have you ever noticed how offsprings often resemble with their parents, or the pea plant that produces offsprings or similar to the parent plant? The answer for these two questions, why offsprings often resemble with their parents or why the pea plant produces similar offsprings, the answer for these two questions lies in the science that's called as genetics. And the credit for this genetics, it goes to Gregor John Mendel, who is considered as the father of genetics because he laid down the foundations of the genetics. That is the reason he is considered as the father of genetics. And so far as this genetics word, it was coined by William Bateson. Genetics is basically the study of heredity and variations. Genetics is the branch of science, or we can say genetics is the branch of biology which deals with the study of heredity and variations. Before discussing the heredity and variations, let me talk about the three main classes of genetics. First of all, it's classical genetics. Classical genetics is also called as transmission genetics. Number second, it's molecular genetics. Number third, it's population genetics. Classical genetics explains how traits are passed from one generation to another generation. I can say how traits are transferred from parents to offsprings. So I can say this classical genetics, it lays foundation. Its foundation was laid by the Gregor John Mendel through his famous experiment on pea plant, Pisum stevum. So I am repeating this point. So the foundations of this branch, the foundations of classical genetics, it was laid down by the Gregor John Mendel. And Gregor John Mendel performed his famous experiment on pea plant, that is Pisum stevum. Number second class of genetics, that's molecular genetics. Molecular genetics, it is responsible, or we can say it deals with the structure and functions of genes at molecular level. Or in simple terms, or briefly I can say, molecular genetics explains how genes work. What are genes? Genes are the segments of DNA. And what is DNA? DNA is a genetic material. And number third branch, or I can say number third class of genetics, that's population genetics. And population genetics, it is responsible, or it deals genetic variations within population and how it changes over time. So these three main classes of genetics: number first, classical genetics, also called as transmission genetics; number second, molecular genetics; and number third, that is population genetics. So I was talking about genetics is the study of heredity and variations. So far as heredity is concerned, it's the transmission of traits. It's the transmission of traits from parents to offsprings. Or I can say it's the transference of traits from one generation to another generation. And heredity, it has been taken from the Greek word, that's hereditas. Hereditas means inheritance. So far as variations are concerned, variations means differences among the individuals of the same species or different species. These variations can be morphological variations, means external variations, or it can be anatomical variations, means internal variations. It can be physiological variations, means variations occurring in the functions of an organism. It can be cytological variations, means variations observed in the cells of an organism, or it can be behavioristic variations. So variations means differences among the individuals of the same species, means intraspecific variation, or among the individuals of different species, means interspecific variations. Different species, for example, when we compare dogs with cats. Same species, for example, when we talk about only human beings, when we talk about only cats, when we talk about only dogs. We have got two main types of variations. Number first is somatogenic variation, number second is germinal variation. Somatogenic variation means the variation that occurs in the somatic cells. What are somatic cells? Somatic cells are body cells. So variation that occur in somatic cells, that's called as somatogenic variation. Somatogenic variations, they are non-inheritable. Non-inheritable means they are acquired by an organism during its lifetime. They are obtained by an organism during its lifetime. And according to Wisman, these variations, namely somatogenic variations, they die as the death of an individual occurs. Once an individual dies, these variations get finished. These variations, they get eradicated. So because these variations are acquired, they are non-inheritable. Non-inheritable means they are not transferred, they are not inherited from parents to offsprings. Now, the second type of this variation is germinal variation or blastogenic variation. Germinal variation occur in the germ cells. Germ cell is any biological cell that produces gametes. So germ cells are responsible for the production of gametes. So the variations that occur in the germ cells, that's called as germinal variations. Germinal variations are inherited. They're inheritable, means they get transferred from parents to offsprings. This was all about this was a short introduction regarding the genetics and the types of variations. Thank you very much.